Okay, so we're beginning. Let me go straight to my project folder. And oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me do that. I believe you guys can hear me and can see my screen as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have my Visual Studio running, and we're going to begin. A quick tip I would like to share with you guys is when it comes to the development space or IT, knowing to code and being very good at what you do alone, it's not enough. What is and what the current trend is building a community, engaging in a community, but most importantly, you need to build a personal brand as well, and it's very important. And so you get to build your personal brand in so many ways by sharing your portfolio, by sharing the work you do, engaging in communities. It plays a very big role in helping you to get connections, land jobs. As I speak to you, there are people who get to share their works on Twitter and they end up getting some contracts from there, not Twitter alone, but other platforms as well. Twitter is proven to become the number one social media place for creating connections these days. And so I would encourage you guys to get onto Twitter. Don't say you're going to wait till you are a fully fledged developer before you start creating you start building your personal brand. Instead, get onto Twitter, engage with the development communities, start building your brand now that you are learning HTML. Whatever you learn today, you can just make a recap of it, tweet it. As time goes on, you begin to build your audience and it goes. And so that's just one tip I would like to. That's one tip I would like to give to you guys. And so, Erasmus, I saw you raised your hand earlier. Erasmus. Okay, so I would like to treat a few things before we continue. I've seen the assignment submissions, and there are a few things I think I should address. And so let me look through some of the submissions and point those errors out. Then we can continue with whatever it is that I have planned for today. All right, so the first of them, which is showing over here, as you can see, somebody brought the HR tag or the HR element and didn't close it. I did mention earlier that the HR element is a self-closing element, so it doesn't have an opening and closing tag, unlike the others. And so when you awaken with the HR element, it's just HR and you're gone. But if you don't bring the closing, the greater than sign for the closing, it's going to be an error. So that is one thing you should really look at. When it happens that way, it gets to affect the rest of your code. So you can see the BRL tag is fine, it's closed, but it's also showing red because the error from the code above has affected it. That is one thing. I think I'll look at a few more. I've seen two more problems. I think I addressed, and let me just look at. Let me try to trace them. I can't seem to find it. But then, without let me not waste much time. Let's just proceed with whatever we have today. So today we are going to be looking at lists. The other day we looked at the text basics. We looked at the heading. We looked at the paragraph. We did look at a few other elements like the image elements and a few other things. We saw the address element as well. So we shall continue. And let me create inside my document file. I'm creating a new file and calling. Let me call it lesson02.html. And then this brings my attention to one of the issues that I wanted to talk about. Now, when it comes to development, you want to make sure that your file naming, if you bring space with in naming your file, for example, let me say lesson. Oh, what's happening? Should I say lesson two? Right, lesson two is not going to be a problem. Yeah, so I can create an HTML file and bring my heading, right? So this is my heading. Then I can say that description. Let me bring a dummy text. And when I get to preview this in the browser, it's going to work fine. It's not going to introduce any errors. You see that everything is running fine. However, when we put our website on the internet, it's different. It's going to be run on different servers. Some of them are Windows servers, some of them are Linux. And so if you tend to put spaces in your file naming, it can give you problems. So the best thing to do is when you have a file name, which is maybe a compound name, combination of two or more words, you separate it with a hyphen, or better still, you use an underscore. So we have lesson underscore 02, and that's how it goes. All right, so it's showing an error because the file has been renamed. Let me just. All right, so I am back over there. And now today we will proceed to look at a few other things. Today, the first thing I have planned is for us to look at links. Yes, Alice, thank you for the reminder. I am currently recording. So we are going to be looking at list. And in HTML, we have three types of lists in HTML. And when you want to create a list, you create a list using the list element. You have the ordered list and then an ordered list. So first of all, let's try to create something. We have a paragraph and let's say places. I want to let me have an H1 and so what my plans for 2024. Right, format document. So I have a paragraph in 2024. I want to visit 100 countries. That's quite a big ambition. Some of these include, then we can have what? Our list, right? So first of all, we are going to look at the unordered listing, which we use the word, the UL tag. UL means unordered listing, right? So inside my unordered listing, there is how we next elements. That's also one problem I noticed in the assignment. Somebody opened an element, didn't close it, brought another element, and then closed it after. So assuming they have the body here, because the UL is starting inside the body, the closing of that particular UL should what be inside the body as well. So the body should what cover the UL entirely. So this UL shouldn't come outside. It's going to create an error. So that is it. So inside our UL, we are going to have what our list, right? And so the first on our list is what I want to go to Ivory Coast because I'll be going to watch the African Cup in my imagination. So you can see that what I have my dotted list showing, and we call it an ordered list. So aside Ivory Coast, I want to go to Gambia. Then when I'm back from Gambia, I'll be visiting Malawi. Then from Malawi, I'll be visiting Nigeria because I want to go and taste their jollof and make comparison. And then let me show you one quick trick in VS Code. If I want to list a whole lot of elements, instead of listing them one by one, I can just go li star 5. And when I press enter, it's going to create 5 list elements for me. So I don't need to type them one by one. So I can say what? Ivory Coast. Then I can go to Nigeria. Then I'll go to Gambia. Then I'll go to Malawi. Then I'll go to Tunisia. Right. So these are some of the countries I want to visit uh, during in my 2024 plan. I hope you guys get it. And so let's continue. Then let me have an HR element. Then let me say let me have another heading H2, some tourist sites in Ghana. So when I'm looking at some tourist sites in Ghana, I can have a P, which is going to, there are so many tourist sites in Ghana. These are very beautiful. These are very beautiful places. All right. I have been to a few last year. Actually, last year I've never been to any tourist site, so it's just for learning purposes. Then let me bring a line break. These are the places I visited, right? So now I'm now going to introduce what another type of listing, which is going to be the ordered list. And so the ordered listing comes with what OL, right? So when I have my OL element, and inside my OL, I'm still going to have LI, just like we had in the unordered list. So ordered list, we have LI, and let me name 5 of them. And so what I'm going to do in each of my list elements is I'm going to introduce I'm going to write the name of the place, an image, and a brief description. So I'm going to put the title. I'm going to put the name in H3 tag and say what? Kakum National Park. Then I'm going to bring what? An image. And so let me open my browser. Let me use a different tab, a different window. So Kakum National Park. So instead of downloading this image, I'm just going to copy the link to it directly. So copy image address. back to my working folder and I place the image over there. Then with the alt attribute, I'm going to say what? Kakum National Park, right? And after my image, I can now bring what? My description. So let me bring a P and let me just put in some dummy data over there. Let me save and we have so the picture is so big. Then let me introduce another attribute which is the width and let me give it 500 pixels, which I think it looks better now, right? Let me make it 250 so it fits fine. 300 should be okay. Great. So it fits into my viewing area. Then two, let me just copy whatever it is I have in one and paste and paste. So another thing you can do in VS Code when you are going to paste to several locations, you can see that I have placed my cursor here, right? So I'm just going to hold the Alt key and place my cursor here and click here again. So now those 2 points are selected. When I paste, it's going to paste to all those places. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let me format my document. Great, everything is working fine. And so we're going to have another location again as what? Booty Falls. And let me just get a picture of Booty Falls real quick. Let me see Mole National Park. Let me see Mole Falls. Mm. Somebody should suggest which other tourist site do we have in Ghana. I think I'm out of ideas at the moment.
Yeah, Kwame Nkrumah Museum.
Very good. Kwame Nkrumah. So Booty Falls for now. Yeah, fully. You can ask your question. Fully, fully. At that day, your hand is up. If you have a question, you can ask, please. Yeah, fully. You can speak.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah,
Please, you were asking which other tourist site, and I wanted to mention Kakum. Yeah,
Kakum.
but
Okay.
I thought it has already been listed.
Yes,
So,
I listed that you wanted to steal my idea.
oh,
Don't worry, I'm just kidding. So we have Boti Falls, and then
thank you.
we have Mole National Park. Let me grab the images real quick. That's a nice picture of an elephant. So let me just copy image address and put Mole National Park. Let me replace the link over here. Wow, that's pretty long. No, what's happening? I don't want those long addresses. Copy image address and paste. Great. So I have Mole National Park. And I believe you know why I'm changing the alt attribute because the alt attribute is supposed to describe the image that is being displayed. And so we have Kwame Nkrumah. Then let's add one from Malawi. I think we have Lake Malawi. So it's not in Ghana, but let me just add it. It's a very beautiful place. Let me add this image. Copy image address done. So we have right here. appreciate it when images have. So let me just say Kwame. Oh no, Kwame Nkrumah. And then the last one we are going for Lake Malawi. Let's copy. Then let me change this to Lake. And we have Kwame Nkrumah. I'm not sure if my spelling of museum is right, but we'll leave it like that for now. Then we have Lake Malawi. Right. So now let me preview my page. And we also have, so you can look, you can see that over here we have our list, our unordered list. So the unordered list is just bulletin, and then we have the ordered list, which is numbering. And so that is what we are seeing over here. Another thing we can do is to next list, right? So maybe we can say we can have another paragraph at Lake Malawi. I engaged in many activities, right? These include, then we can have what? Another list, which is what? An ordered list inside an unordered list, or let's say a bullet list inside what? A numbered list, right? And so when you come here, I can say Li times 3. And so we had what? Swimming, playing beach football, then what? Playing basketball. And when I go down here, you can see there are times 10. So when I go down here, you can see that what? The bullet is what? Is being listed under the other list. So you can actually nest your lists like that. I believe you guys are
More
following.
class one, we don't have to why more class. Hmm.
I believe you guys are following. So we have another type of list which we are going to be looking at, and that is what? The description list. So with the description list, we have what? DL, right? And inside the description list, we are going to have what? DT, which is what? The description term. So we have DT, which is what? The description term. So uh, we can say term 1 or list 1. Then under that, we can have what? The description detail, which is what? This is the detail for item 1. And when you save it, that's how it's going to show. Then you can have the second one, another description term, what? List 2. Then you can have what? This is what? The detail for item 2. And that's how the description list works. We usually don't use the description list, but it's something that exists, and I thought we should know. Anybody having any questions at the moment? Yes, Nana Ajuman, you can speak.
Sir, please, I wanted to ask,
Yeah.
uh, what is the differences between the three types of list and then when to use any of them?
Okay, so for the description list, looking at the way it appears, you basically use it. You see, let me put a dummy data here. You see how it should. So it depends on your design. Suppose you're building a website and the layout looks something like this. Instead of using maybe a heading and a paragraph and giving a margin, when we get to CSS, we'll be looking at margins and paddings and other stuff. You can actually use the description list. But as I mentioned earlier, we usually don't. I've never used the description list, and I've actually not seen anybody use the description list on a functioning website before. But for the other two types, the ordered list and then the unordered list, it's simply about logic. For example, when you are stating a process that have strictly follow order. Are you getting it? Example, maybe you want to bath. So the first thing you do is you fetch water, you go to the washroom, you bath, right? So that's the three. You want to make sure you use numbered list so that even if it happens to be misplaced, uh, the list happens to be scattered, the person sees two at the top, he knows that no, this is not the first one, right? But for the unordered listing, suppose you are listing items, just like I stated the things I did at Lake Malawi over here. They don't have to be in order, right? Because they don't really have to follow a particular process. If I want to state the things or maybe places I have gone to in order, then I can say, okay, first I went here, then I went there, and I went there. I hope you get the explanation I'm trying to give.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Anybody has any other question? Anything they don't understand? Yeah, you can speak.
Sir, and then my second question is, can you change the layout of the how the list appears on the site? Like you see, this one is in a vertical form. Can you change it
Yes,
like
it's possible.
horizontal?
It's possible to change that, and we are going to be looking at most of those things when we get to CSS. We'll be looking at how to style lists and all other things, right? So
Yes,
we'll
sir.
learn to modify all of those things. You can actually change the bulletin that is showing over here, right?
Okay, sir.
You can change the bulletin that is showing over here. The numbers here you can change them to A. For example, a quick example is let me get to I think let me link this to my CSS file. The CSS file which we have style.css, right? And so when I come to let me work on the ordered list which we created. No, I did this for something. So when I say the OL, let me select the OL. Then I can say list style type, right? Then I can say alpha, lower alpha. So you can see that it's changing to what? A, B, C, D. I can say upper alpha and it's changing to what? Capital A, B, C, D. There are other stylings we are going to be applying, but I want us to deal with the HTML aspect. HTML isn't lengthy. Like tomorrow we'll be done with HTML. From Monday we are going to put prime focus on CSS, and so we'll come across most of these things. Are you okay? Do you have any question? All right, so I think we'll proceed. So far, nobody has any challenge, any question, anything they don't get about lists. Okay, so the next item we are going to be looking at is what? Links, right? So inside the project folder, how many of you are actually following along? You have your PC and you're writing code as I am doing. All right. All right. Uh, okay. So I'm going to create another file in my project folder, and I'm going to. So I'm supposed to name this lesson two. Okay. So let me name this lesson three and say 03 links. Right. Sorry. Links.html, and I'm going to have my basic HTML boilerplate. Then I'll let me change the title to list links. Sorry, and three go to list. So if you could remember, I did recommend the live server. I asked that you guys should get the live server, and I specifically recommended the five server. And there is a reason I recommended the five server. If you look at my screen, I'm going to click on number two, right? When I click on number two, you realize that my browser automatically refreshes, opens that particular page. If I move to the index file, the browser automatically opens that file. So that's one of the reasons I prefer the five server over the original live server. I don't know if the original live server has recently had that upgrade, but previously it doesn't work that way. And so we are going to look at links. And in HTML, we create a link by using what the anchor tag. So the anchor tag is another element in HTML. As I did mention earlier, as we move on, we are going to be discovering most of the elements one after the other. And this link tag shouldn't be confused with the link we have over here in our meta section for the head. We realize that we have a link. We are linking a file which is relative to the document we are working on. But this is what an anchor link. Yeah, Majman, you can speak.
Sir, please, how do we get the 5 7?
A five server, just go to your extension store, search for live server. When you search for live server, you should see a list of them. So just look through. You should see five server. Live, it's actually live server into bracket five server by Yannick. That's what I have over here. So you'll see live server into bracket five server. Maybe after the lesson, you can take time to look for it. So we have what? The anchor tag. And then the anchor tag takes an attribute, a compulsory attribute, which is what? The href or the hyperreference. And the href is, usually, how does a link work? On a website, when you click on a link, the link takes you to what? Another page. It takes you to another website, or it can take you to another section on that same page, right? And so, where is that link taking you to? That link is taking you to a particular place, and so we are going to reference that with what? The href. So we can say when we click on links, it should take us to what? Page, the second lesson, which is what? O2 underscore list dot what? HTML, right? And then let's give a name to the link. So visit lesson two, right? Now, when we click over here, you realize that what? It opens lesson two for us. Now let's go back. Yeah, I saw somebody raise their hand. Kindly ask your question.
Yeah, I wanted to know if there's a difference between the link that we put that we copy the image link and this link, but it seems I'm okay for now.
Okay, so the image link we copied, that's the source link. When you are referencing an item, so since we are referencing an item, the source of that item, for example, let me go back here, and you realize we are making reference to what an image, right? So where is the image? That's the source. Where is the image? That's the source. So the image takes the source attributes. The link element or the anchor element takes what? The href attribute or the hyperreference attributes. I believe your question is answered, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm answered.
No, okay. And so that is it. That's basically how the anchor tag works. So let's try to create something, right? Let's go back to our list items, and then let's create a page over here, right? Which is going to basically, let's say we are creating a page which is going to talk about different sports, right? So let's have our h1 tag of what? Let's say different. How do we spell different? Different types of sports, right? Then so we can have uh, an OL. Let me bring a UL instead. Then I can have my, let me bring three items, right? So inside my first item, I can bring a P, which is what? Football. So sorry. Instead, let me bring an H2, then say football. Then, Junior, the audio they come on. All right, so inside image here, let me just grab a picture of, let me not touch this browser. Let me say soccer. Copy image address, right? And then let me bring that picture over here. Oh, come on. All right, so let's say football, right? So we can now going to add what? An anchor link. Let me define the width and say width should be 350 pixels. And so let me just format my document, right? And then inside there, we are going to have what? An anchor link, and then we are going to say read more about what? Football. Then inside our anchor link, we are going to say what? Football.html. All right. Now, let me format again. Now, let me open my file tree and let me create what? Football.html. Then I'll bring my boilerplate and say football. So let me just put something over here and say football is my favorite sports, right? Let me save that. Let me save this, and when I go to, let me bring a break over here. So when I come here, right, and I click on read more on football, it takes me to what? To the football page. So we can actually create another one and say basketball. Let me do just two so that we can save time. Yeah, Shamil, you can ask your question.
right. I wanted to know how do you call the default HTML codes?
Come again.
How do you call the default HTML codes?
Okay, so just when VS Code, just press the go to the exclamation. That is Shift and one. Then I think it should VS Code will suggest that for you. Let me
All
see.
right, thank you.
You're welcome. Volleyball. So let me just go here and search for volleyball. So inside my links here, let me replace the picture for volleyball. Volleyball. So read more about volley. So back on our page, we are going to have volleyball. So when I create, okay, I said volleyball instead. Then I'll say volleyball. It is another beautiful sports. And so save links and let me click on, let me think VR times 20 so I can move this here. So when I click on volleyball, it, oh, sorry, I didn't fix the link. Volley, great. So when I click on volleyball, it should take me to what the volleyball page, which is what another beautiful sport. So basically, that's how we link to another file inside our project. Lanky, you can ask your question.
Okay, please. What if under the head two, I want to put a list over there and make it a grade form in a grade form. Great.
Come again.
What if under the head two,
And
I want to put a list over there
here, like this,
where I'll make it a grade form.
a great form.
Yeah, grade GRID.
You want to make it a grid.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's in CSS. When we are doing CSS, we'll be looking at Flexbox and Gridbox. Those are two
Okay.
broad things which we are going to be looking at in CSS, and we can use it to uh, change the layout of our web page and everything. You realize that whatever it is we are doing is going here straight. We are not hiding any style. I want us to get to the HTML elements first. Then from next week
Okay.
we'll jump onto CSS. Great. Adade, you have your hands up fully. Adade, you have your hands up.
Yeah, hello, sir. Please, what you did, is it an absolute referencing or a
Very
relative
good.
referencing? I
That's
want to
the
know.
very next thing I wanted to talk about. I'll answer that. Janet, I'll bring your kindly bring your question. Janet, okay.
Sorry, it's fine. I wanted to say something concerning Lanky's question, but it's fine.
You can bring it up. Maybe it will help somebody else. If you're okay, you can help
No,
somebody.
no, it's fine. I just wanted to say, you know, some of us here, like others know more than others. Others are just beginners starting from scratch. So those of you who are ahead of some of us, stop like bringing like grade. You're confusing others. So I think we should just wait, be patient enough till we get there. You explain to all of us. We are in HTML and we're talking about grade. Kobina Juma yɛ ne hee. So that was what I wanted to say.
All right, Jane, we heard you. Don't worry. I've actually planned a curriculum, and so we are going to look at everything. And it's also fine that we understand that there are people who are absolute beginners, and so everyone is going to be taken care of. If there is anything which you don't, that's why I did mention that the class is supposed to be interactive, and so let's all begin to contribute. If somebody takes us far and we are not there yet, I'll just prompt them because I know what we are going to be looking at. You know, also it's important because sometimes some things may skip me, right? And so somebody asking a question about something can actually prompt me that okay, we have to talk about this. And so I'll welcome it if maybe you already have some background and there is something which you know, then maybe I'm not mentioning, you can actually prompt me. I'll actually welcome it. And but if you already have some background, then you definitely know that oh, maybe this particular thing I am talking about is far away or something within this particular scope. For example, I think Foley asked a question about absolute and relative reference, which is basically about what we are doing links over here. So it more applicable. But I still welcome any question, any contribution from anybody. And I believe everybody's okay. Nobody's angry. Nobody's disappointed or anything. Janet, are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. And sorry if I sounded offended. Like I'm
No,
sorry.
you. I just wanted
Oh,
everybody.
no problem, no problem.
We are all learning. We are all different people, so nobody should be offended, please. I'm really pleading with you guys. Nobody should be offended. It's supposed to be fun, a fun time. We're supposed to be having a fun time while learning. So yeah, let's continue. So Foley was talking about he asked if this is what an absolute or a relative reference. Now, whatever the reference we are giving here is what a relative reference, and it's still working. A relative reference is just like a continuation of something or half of it, right? I did give an example when we were, I think was it on Tuesday. I gave a scenario. If you are in a school and a teacher says go to class 5, you are not going to ask the teacher that which school, right? Because you know that whatever it is that is happening, it's in what it's in that school. So the moment the teacher says go to class 5, that is what a relative reference because he's talking about the base school, the school where you guys are all there, right? Now, an absolute reference would be when the teacher says go to Mataheko Senior High School. Go to Form 1 in Mataheko Senior High School. Now that becomes what an absolute reference, right? Because it's giving you the exact location to go to. And so when it comes to uh, HTML, example, when we let me give an example. Looking at the image source I brought over here, you realize that it started from what? HTTPS, and then it included everything about the website. Are you getting it? Now, if I copy this link over here and I open my browser and paste that link, it's oh, I copied the element instead of the link. Sorry for that. Let me just copy whatever it is that is here. So if I copy my link and I paste it here, you realize that what the image is showing because it's an absolute link. Now, let me go back to my index file and you would realize that the image I linked over here is still showing, right? But when I copy the image and I go to the same browser, I have lots of tabs open. I'm getting confused. Wait, I think here. And I paste it, you realize that it's going into Google search instead. Usually it wouldn't retain any results. Are you getting it? Because that link I have pasted over there is not absolute. It's with what? With reference to my working directory. And so for me to be able to access that particular link or that particular image, I have to what? Include the source URL. I getting it. And in this instance, my source URL is what my the local IP, which is 127.0.0.1, running on port 5500. So when I take this out and I bring my link over there, you realize that the image is opening. Are you getting it? Now this becomes an absolute link or an absolute reference. So when you're working in a project file and you are linking to files within the same project, you usually don't need to add an absolute link or absolute reference. You give relative reference because it's going to locate to the same source or the same root. Another link which we can add in HTML is what we call the external link. Are you getting it? So assume, let me go back here. Assuming I come here and I search for something on what? Mole National Park, and let me just visit Wikipedia and copy the link from Wikipedia, right? And so when I go to Mole National Park, I think that was in the list element. Let me just do that right over there. I get in it. Where's Mole National Park? I think that's right here. So assuming I want to add a link, which when you click on should lead you to Wikipedia so that you can read more about Mole National Park. I'm going to bring my anchor. Sorry. Yes, and then also I noticed another error in your submissions, which I wanted to address. Is keep me. One of you wrote your element in mixed cases. I think he wrote center and he wrote it like CENTR, and this is wrong. I getting it. Mostly our element names are written in lower cases, so it's supposed to be something like this center, and it's going to work for you. So center is also another element which helps you to center items. So what this is a center item. Let me save. And where is my mole? All right, so over here you realize that that pushes what to the center, so you can use the center element to center an item. That's also another element. Majiman, I saw you raised your hand. Okay, so let me add. Yeah, you can go ahead. No, you ask the question. Your microphone is not clear. Okay, so we'll proceed. Yeah, you can speak, Ajima. Okay, so let me proceed. Let's add our anchor link. And so I was saying that what I want to achieve over here is that I will add a link, right? Read about Mole National Park. So I've added my link over here. And what I want to do is when you click on this link, it should take you to the Wikipedia page. So you realize that I have my working space, right? My website which I'm working on right now. But Wikipedia is a different website. And so I can't just bring the last part of the URL and hope it's going to work. It won't work because without specifying the base URL, it's going to come back to the same source. It's going to look for the file within the same place, right? So since Wikipedia is another resource, another site on its own, I'm going to include the absolute reference. I get it. I'm going to link everything. I'm going to bring the entire link over there. And then when I click, it takes me to Wikipedia to read more about Mole National Park. Ajuman, your hand is still up. I believe you have a question. Okay. Yeah, so you can go ahead. All right. So now, so far, with all the links we have added, you would realize that anytime we click on a link, it reloads our page. So whatever it is that we were already reading on that page, we can't continue anymore. Are you getting it? How many of you have ever been on a website where you click on a link and the page doesn't load, but the link is opened in another tab? Maybe you click on the link and it happens like this. How many of you have ever seen it? Say I click on this link, then it opens another tab instead of that tab loading. All right. So when we look at the anchor elements, it takes another attribute. And where is my link? All right. Another attribute which we can include in the link is the target attribute, right? And the target attribute takes different properties. We are going to be looking at the blank and then the parent. So the blank means what? We want to open that link in another tab. So when I click on this link, now my page didn't load, my page is still there. I can continue reading, but the link is open in what? In the other tab. So basically, that is how the blank attribute works. Now the other one is what? Parent. And when you use a parent, if you click on it, it's going to open within the same window or the same tab. And when you don't specify the target, the default is parent. So if it's going to be parent, you don't need to specify it. I hope we are clear on it on links so far. Anybody having any challenge? Anybody getting confused about anything? Great. Yeah, Enoch, you can ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Sir, please, is it compulsory for somebody to actually include a target in the anchor reference?
No, it's not compulsory. It's only needed if you want to, if you don't want the users, the page to load, or you don't want the user to, what am I even saying? If you want the link to be open in a new tab, then you have to include the tag attribute, and then the value you're supposed to give to it should be parent, right? If you, sorry, it should be blank. Sorry for that. Blank is going to open it in a new tab. Parent is going to open it in what? In the same tab. But if it's going to be parent, then you don't need to specify it because that is the default. Are you getting it?
Yes, please.
Great. Anybody else having any other question? Ajuman, your hand is raised. Ajuman, I think your speaker is loud, so it's creating an echo when you unmute yourself. Kindly check that. Janet, you can speak, please.
Yes, sir. So please, with the target attribute, like you can just leave the quote like that without writing anything inside.
When you bring the quote, you have to specify an attribute. So if you don't want to bring it, you just clear everything. Just don't bring the target at all. Are you okay?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah, Shamil.
And if you don't bring a target, that means it will be a parent. It will
Yes,
look at
it's
it
going to
as,
open in the same tab.
oh, okay.
It's like somebody telling you to count 1, 2, 3. Shamil, just count 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
All right, great. So you realize that you started from what? 1, 2, 3. That's the default. But if I want you to start from 5, I would specify. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Count 1, 2, 3 from 5, or let's say recite the letters of the English alphabet from 8. Then you're going to. But when I just leave it by default, you are going to start from the very starting. So that's just how it is. It's like default and then specifics. Enoch, you can speak, please.
Sir, please, I want to ask if which one is the best practice? If you would you leave it at the parent or for
Okay.
the blank space
Okay.
if you are
So
creating a website?
one doesn't have an advantage over the other. Rather, what we should be looking at is the use cases. For example, if I have a website and whatever it is that it's on that particular page. Maybe I want to the user to go to the next page. I want them to go there and go and do whatever they have to do over there. Then I'll definitely use the parent, so I wouldn't specify. Are you getting it? But if I just want to give them a reference to something, then I can actually add the blank tag so that it opens in another page. For example, let me see if I can get another article. An article. Let me look at GhanaWeb.com. Right. Great. So on GhanaWeb.com, Let me read this article. Great. There are no internal links over here. Let me try and grab another article. It's sad that most of this. Let me just do some. Let me check the Mozilla Developer Network real quick. I want to get a tip. All right, so Wikipedia is here. It's been here, and I was struggling out as well. So you realize that somebody comes onto Wikipedia and they want to read about Mole National Park, right? There are several links or citations which is going to support the information about Wikipedia on this page. Suppose you want to learn about Mole National Park. Over there, it gives what? You realize that poaching is highlighted over here, right? Now, you wouldn't want to, there's some information you would love the reader to know, but you wouldn't want to redirect their attention from whatever it is that they are reading to what? To that little piece of information. And so you can use what? The blank attribute, so that when the person clicks over here, it's going to open a new tab, right? Wikipedia hasn't done that. I think Wikipedia does that for external pages only. That external link, a link that is taking you to a different website. For that, let me see one of them, right? Okay, even with that, they haven't done it, but that is the case it's supposed to follow. If you come onto a website, let's say you go on to all right, so Eugene admissions. Let me give a typical example over here. Um, Very good. So somebody who is hoping to apply into the University of Ghana, right? When they land upon this page, maybe the person is going for undergraduate and admissions. So they just click here how to apply, and it's okay to actually let the page load inside like this. Are you getting it? When they come here, Ghanaian applicants, let's say we go apply now, and it's going to open the admission portal. All right. Okay. So it's linking to another place. When they come here, all right. So now it opens this portal. So in an instance like this, you are directing the person to that page. So that's your goal. The goal or your conversion you're looking for is the user to click and then go and fill that form. So you just direct them. Absolutely, you direct them over there. But if you want to make reference or you want them to see another thing, which or maybe you can also check this story out. You can also check this out. Then in such an instance, you can use the blank attribute to open that in another tab. If you're browsing the web and you see something, I get it. Just like we are on Wikipedia, I have seen something on impact of human hunters, right? And I want to read. But Wikipedia hasn't added that blank attribute on their website, and I want to open it. I can either right click and open in the link in a new tab, and it's going to open in a new tab, or I can just press Control and click on it, and it's going to open in a new tab for me. But now we are looking at it from the other end, on the side of the website developer. So that is where it becomes necessary to use the blank. If there is an additional resource you would want them to have a look at, or there is an external link. Also, when you are linking to external resources, you have items on your website and you want to link them to a different page, right? A different website, a website which is not yours. You wouldn't want the user to just close your website and leave. I get it. It's not healthy for your SEO. So you would want to use the blank attribute so that it opens that site on another tab. Are you getting it? Yeah, Juman, you have another question? Juman, I can't hear you. When you unmute yourself, I think there is an echo. So I'm kind of hearing myself too. So maybe you can put your question in the comment, the chat box, so that I address you. You've had your hand raised several times. Very sorry for that. So quickly put your comment over there. Let's address it so that we move on to the next thing. Lanky, you can quick. Lanky. Okay, so let's proceed. Now we are going to be looking at what the next type of link, which is linking within the same web page. How many of you have ever noticed or ever realized, maybe you've opened a web page, you click on a link, and instead of taking you to another page, it scrolls to the bottom, or let's say to the very top. It's very common. And so let's come to our link here, right? And then let me just duplicate this. So another thing you can do in Visual Studio Code is when you want to duplicate something, you highlight it, you press Alt and Shift, and you press what? The down arrow key, and it's going to create a copy at the bottom. If you want to duplicate it to the top, you can just press the top arrow key and it will duplicate it to the top. So that's one thing about Visual Studio Code. It helps you to be a lot more efficient when working. Great. So let me put a link at the very top over here, and then let me say go to bottom. And so over here, let me put hash bottom. All right. Now let me come back to the very bottom, the last item, the link over here, and let me give it an attribute of what? ID, a value of what? Bottom. I don't know if you get to see, if you understand what I'm trying to do over here. So when you want to link to an item on the same page, you use the ID attribute, right? So I have a list item over here with an ID of what? Bottom. Now when I come here, I have a link, and then instead of specifying a different file, I'm bringing what? A bottom, right? And I'm bringing an hash over there, or the pound sign, which is the selector for what? For bottom. Let me just open my CSS file and show you guys something. You'd realize that in my index file, the file we worked on Tuesday, I created an element and I gave it an ID. All right, so I think I deleted the item. But when you have an ID and you want to select the ID, you use the hashtag, then what? The name of the ID. And so what I'm doing over here is I've created the link. When you click on it, it should take you to the bottom. And then I have my element at the bottom with an ID of what? Bottom. So let me save Let's test our link and see if it works. And yes, it works, right? So basically, this is how you link to another page or another section of the same web page. I can put another link over here and then say what? Go to top, right? Now, when you have the go to top link, what you can do is what? Just put hash over there, right? When you put hash over there and you click, it's going to take you to the top. So you don't need to specify an ID at the very top. I hope you guys are getting me. You don't need to have an ID. If your intention is to take the user to the very top of the web page, then there's no need to specify an ID. But if you want to take the user to a particular item, are you getting it? So let me say first, let me look at what, let me link back to what? Second football. So let me show S football. So this is the second football list we we have on the page, right? ID. Then when I say S football, then I say second football, right? When I go to the bottom and I click on, let me just put a line break to separate my lanes for me. BR, BR. Great. Let me bring another break over here. And so when I click on second football, you realize that what? It takes me to the second football item. So let me just name that so that we see the difference. Second football, right? So when I click on second football, it takes me what to the second football. Yes. So let me answer Ajiman real quick. He said I was asking about the external should be made if the external should be made parent from what you were describing. Okay. So usually external links, we usually use the blank attribute so that it opens in another page. It helps to retain users. It's a lot more of SEO. Those of you who happen to be bloggers, you probably have done a thing or two about SEO. And the longer somebody spends on your website after they may be coming from a Google search, it helps to tell the search engine that okay, this person liked the website. Let me recommend it more. That's how the algorithm works. That's not the only thing. It's just one of the ways. And so when you are redirecting somebody to a different website, you wouldn't want. It's a good practice to make sure that uh, you don't take them away from your website entirely. It depends on the use case, though. If that particular article is not really needed, maybe you are just taking them there and that's it. There's nothing they have to come back and check again. You can just make it a parent or just remove it at all. Just don't introduce the tag attribute at all, and you are good to go. But in most cases, when you are adding an external link, you might want to open it in a new tab. I hope your question is answered, Ajiman. Enoch, I saw your hand was up a while ago.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask for the for you to actually add a link so that to scroll to the bottom. Is it for just um IDs or classes
Yes,
and IDs?
it's for the IDs. That works with the IDs.
Okay, sir.
Then something, you're right. So I just remembered something. Aside from linking to another section on the same page, you can also link to another section on what? Another page. Are you getting it? So let's come to the list item and then Lake Malawi over here. Let me just where is Lake Malawi, right? So with Lake Malawi, let me give it an ID of what? Malawi, right? Great. So we have an ID of Malawi over here. So in my link, I can just say a, then I say what? I'm not going to first of all specify the page that that particular section is on. So that's 02 list.html, right? Then I'll bring what my hashtag Then I say what Malawi. That is what the ID of the element over there. So I believe this is not confusing. If it's the same page, just like we are having, we saw absolute and relative references. If it's the same page, there's no need to specify the page. But if it's another page, then you have to specify that particular page or that particular file, right? So now let's save this. Let's go to bottom. Okay, I haven't given the title, the link title, so I can say visit Malawi, right? Let me bring another line break over here. So one thing is that you realize that when I add a link and I add another link, they all come on the same line. We call those ones inline elements. We have block elements, we have inline elements. We'll be looking at those things when we are doing CSS. And so when I click on visit Malawi, let's see what happens. You realize that it opens the new page and it takes me straight to where? To that particular section, Malawi section, right? So that is how you link to another page, a particular section on another page, right? So today we have under links, we've looked at how to link to another page or another file, link to an external resource. We've also looked at how to link to another section on the same page and then a particular section on another page. Anybody having any questions so far? Great. So if there are no questions so far, we shall continue creating our links. And then we are also going to add another form of link. Enoch, here you can speak up.
Sir, please, if you add more links inside the website, will it slow down the performance of the website
No,
if a
it
client is
no, the link wouldn't slow down a website. What actually slows down a website is media files like images and videos. And so we have something we call optimization. When you want to link, you want to bring images on your website, we call you optimize them. Let me not go there yet. I think let me just show you an example. Something happened when I added my first image. Janet, I'll take your question in a moment. Let me just show you this, right? So let me remove this attribute. Let me come back over here, and you realize that after loading this page, the image is already showing. So I loaded this image already, and it has cache. We have something we call cache, right? When you load a website, the website look at some resources which it thinks that okay, you might need it, so it saves them onto your what on your PC. And so when you are loading the website again, instead of fetching them from the server, it's already in your browser, right? And so let me just clear the cache. Let me go to inspect elements. Let me go to network, disable cache. Let me reload the page. Disable cache, right? Oh. So I'm going to load this page and please pay attention to what happens over here. It's okay. I think it's going to happen right here. So you guys should please pay attention. Let me go to my network tab and let me reload the page. You see how long it's taking for the page to reload, right? Kindly, when I'm reloading the page, you should check here. Let me clear everything. Disable cache. So you realize that it's taking a longer time for the page to load because there are images on the website and these images are what are big. I get it. So if you have big images on your website, it's going to slow down your website. It is advised that you um, compress images before you put them on your website. And also we have better forms of images like the WEBP when you want to uh, load an image. I think one of the files I fetched from the internet is in that format. Yeah, so the Kwame Nkrumah picture which I fetched is in WEBP, and it's going to be very clear, but it will be lightweight and it will help the website to be faster. We are not looking at SEO now, but it's worth talking about it. Janet, you have a question, please speak. Sorry for keeping you waiting.
Oh, it's fine. Please, my question is, which one is the best way? Like, if you want to upload an image or a video, do you have to download it on the internet, create a folder, and put the
Yeah,
image inside, or
yes.
you have to just copy the link straight from the internet and
No,
paste it on your
don't
PS
copy the
Code?
link straight from the internet. Now, when you're working on a project, you are going to make sure that every resource that you are going to be using in your project are inside your project folder. If you link to an external resource, it's going to work, right? Okay, so I could have just deactivated my internet, but if I deactivate my internet, I can't share my screen with you guys anymore. But since I am linking directly to, Jenny, kindly mute your mic.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, all right. So if I am linking directly to the resources on the internet, if I lose internet access right now, I wouldn't be able to work, right? The images are not going to show. But if I download the images without internet access, I'll be able to work with them. Everything is going to be directly on my local machine. And so when you are working, you make sure you have your items in your project folder. If you just want to make a reference to an item on a different website, you can just link to it. But in most cases, if those files are needed for your website to work, then you make sure that you link to them. You download them. Are you getting it? Going along, we are going to be linking to different files. When we start with JavaScript, we're doing jQuery, or we wouldn't be doing Bootstrap in CSS. We'll just do vanilla CSS and we'll move on. But sometimes, but when we are doing CSS, we'll be working with icons, right? We'll be working with icons. I think we can even work with icons tomorrow. You guys should come around. It's going to be fun. And those times when you're working with icons, you're going to link to external resources. For most of those things, you would want to link to them because some of those providers are trusted providers that are you can just link to them and you know they are always going to be there, right? We have content delivery networks which you use to host maybe libraries, but the best practice would be to have it on your own server. That way, your website is not depending on somebody's website, right? So if the person's website goes off, yours is still going to run. It's as basic as that. It's like you don't have your own meter and you are getting light from somebody. If their own goes off, you go off as well. Anybody else having any question? Yeah, Janet, you can ask a question.
Please, sorry. My second question is, sometimes you paste a link in your VS Code, and then you see that the backslash or the forward slash has changed. How do we deal with that one?
It has changed.
Yes.
How did it change?
Sometimes when you post it in your VS Code, if it's
Is it, are
forward
you
slash,
talking
it
about
doesn't.
me from my end, or it happened to you?
It happened to me.
To you?
Yes, please.
Can you share a screenshot?
No, it's
You
something that happened not today,
oh, okay. So
but I'm asking
possible.
if you can help me with that.
Uh, I can't give you a direct answer because it could be because of several reasons. One, it could be where you are pasting. Are you getting it? Because you see, uh, we use the forward slash when we want to close an element. We have an opening tag and then we have the closing tag. And so if you happen to paste a link in the wrong place, then it's going to be seen as what part of that element. For example, instead of let me paste this here and see what happens. You realize that everything is just messed up. I don't know if that's the exact problem you faced, but mostly before I can give you any direct answer, I have to look at the particular problem and then maybe we can solve it. Anybody having any question? Great. So Kojo asked a very important question, and I like that question. He's asking, how do you use an image as what? As a link. And it's simple. Can anybody guess how to go about it? Can anybody tell how to go about it? Looking at what we've done so far, Janet, do you know? Do you have an idea? Yes, speak up.
Yes, I don't know, but to use an image as a link, you have to use the anchor tag,
Yes.
and then in the source,
Come again.
you you have to use the anchor tag,
Yeah.
and then with the reference, you make the image link as the reference. I don't
Okay,
know.
that is wrong.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
You're making sense, but that's not the right way. I understand what you mean, but that's not the right way. Yeah.
Okay.
Shamil. Okay, so
All right.
Shamil, a minute, please. Before you go, Nanajman, the question is, how Kojo Enti was asking, how do you use image as a link? And I guess what he means is that when you click on this image, it should take you to another website or another page or another section of the same page, right? So, Shamil,
Yeah. So you wrap the image element with the anchor element,
with the anchor
and then
element,
you yes.
great. So that's
So
very
you
true. You realize that when we have our link over here. Let me isolate this link. You realize that we have our link, we have the hyper reference, and then what? Visit Malawi. Now we put Visit Malawi over here. What did we see? We saw Visit Malawi. So we clicked on Visit Malawi, and it became that the text over here becomes what the link. I get it. And so when you have an anchor, anything that is within the anchor tag or the anchor element, sorry, anything that is within the anchor element becomes what a link. Are you getting it? So I can put anything over here. I can put any element over here, and whatever it is that is there is going to become what a link. Are you getting it? So when I click, I just brought an H2 element, and it becomes what a link. The same way I can bring an image over here now. Are you getting it? Then let me raise my image. This is 00. Right. Then I say let me just give it image, and the image is not existing. Wow, I thought I had an image. All right, so it's the image of a tree. Great. So you realize that I have my anchor tag, and now I have my image within the anchor tag. Are you getting it? So this image becomes a link, right? So when I click on this image, it goes to the next page and links me to what? Lake Malawi, just as we have specified in what the hyper reference or the href. Uh, Kojo, I believe your question is answered. Are you clear with it now? Oh, he's gone. All right. So I hope nobody is confused. Yeah, Kojo, you're back. I was asking if your question is answered. If you get the explanation we gave. All right, that's great. So another form of link or another anchor which we have to look at is let's say we have a contact page, right? And somebody comes onto our website and we want the person to what? To call us. So we can say, do you want me to create a website for you? Call me. Are you getting it? Now, what we want to do is when the person clicks on call me, it should actually what? Open up the dialog. Oh, what's happening? Wait. So what we are going to do is what? We are going to wrap the call me in what? An anchor, right? So our link over here, we put the call me over here. Then what we are going to do is what we are going to put our telephone number, right? So we can say 020 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right? And let's see what happens. It gives an error. It's not working. But what we want to do is that anytime the person clicks on this link, if the person is on a mobile phone, it should open the dialer. If the person is on a computer, then it should what look for an appropriate app to do that job. So we use what the tel, right? So we have tel. You bring what tel, the colon, and then you bring what the telephone number, right? So let's click on this link now, and you realize that it's now asking me to what to pick an app. So I can now pick an app which is going to make a call for me. If you have a Windows link app on your phone which you've connected to your mobile, then you can actually use it to place a call directly from your computer. If you should open this link on your if you should open this link this website on your phone and click on the link, then that should open your phone dialer, and then you can just select your SIM card and then make a call. I hope you guys get. How many of you have connected your phone's Wi-Fi to your laptop? Ebenezer, great. So let me show you something that you have to do. Do you know how to find the IP address of your laptop? I want to show you something real quick. Great. So find the IP address. If you don't know, just go to Windows arrow, type CMD, and then you type IP config. That is so. Yeah, great. So if you are, if any of you who, if you know your mobile phone and then your computer are connected to the same network, maybe you have a Wi-Fi and all of the two are connected to the same Wi-Fi network, or you have connected your phone's hotspot to the your laptop or your computer. Kindly follow the step. Go to Windows arrow, press Windows arrow, type in CMD, and then when it opens, just type IP config, press enter, and then you should see an IPv4 address. So that's the IP address of your laptop. Now open your mobile phone browser and type in this address, right? Type in this address, and then you bring what? You're going to type in this address onto your mobile phone. Open your phone browser, the address bar. Then you bring H2 or the column, right? Then after you bring that, let me show you what you're supposed to do. After you type this in the address bar, maybe you open Google Chrome on your phone, you just bring it the H2. Then you realize that when we started a live server, you should have the live server for this to work, right? You realize that the live server is given as an IP address, which is the 127, and that's the computer itself. So you can't access this on another machine. But because the phone is another device, we are going to use the IP address of what of the laptop. And so my this is my IP address. That's what's showing currently. Then I'm going to add the port number. The live server is running on port 5500. So whatever port is showing for your live server, just type it 5500, and then just go. I get in. When you go, you should realize that the website you are working on you'll be able to open it on your phone. So that's how you'll be able to test your websites directly in your phone on your phone when you are working. So you don't need to actually uh, host your website before you can test it. You can just use this trick to test it. Even if you're working with WordPress or any other platform, you can test your website directly on your mobile phone. That's not a primary thing. I believe it's working for you. If it's working for you, if you have added the phone link as we have done over here, just click on call me, and then you realize that it will open your mobile phone dialer, and then you can make a call from there. So that's one way. That's a way to add a link, the phone link. Then another one you can do is what? send me an so we can say, do you have a discussion? Send me a mail. So we now want to we want the user to send us what, an email directly when they click on this particular link. So who can tell how we can go about it?
Um, so we use the HTTPS, then we add
HTTPS.
the domain name to reference it to Gmail.
Okay, that's okay. If you do it that way, it's going to work, but the person would have to go there and type your email address. Are you getting it? But there is a simpler way. Okay, Shamil,
So you use mail to.
that's very great. So you use what, the mail to. Here we have what, the tell. Are you getting it? And let me mention this: when you are adding the phone number, make sure you put it in international format. It's going to work if you leave it in local format, but then when somebody from a foreign country is accessing your website and they click on it, it's going to dial their local number over there. So make sure you have the country code added to it. So with the mail to, we have what, mail to. You bring your colon and then you type your email address. Are you getting it? So we can say info at what, octaskills.com, right? So anytime somebody clicks over here, it's automatically going to let the person choose what, an email client. I get it. So if you're on Windows and you have your Outlook set up, you can just click there. I get. Let me not set it as default. Let me just go to OK, and it's going to open with the email address and everything over there. If you are doing this on the mobile phone, it should automatically open your Gmail app. Are you getting it? That is if you have Gmail, if you're using Gmail by default on your phone, and that's one thing about it. So today we've uh, done extensively a lot of things. I don't know if anybody is confused. Anybody is. I haven't set up my Outlook yet, so that's why I'm having this. Let me just close it. Yeah, Enoch, you have a question?
Sir, please, I want to ask, the mail to and the tel, do you have a name given to it?
A tell. It's basically like a protocol. Yes, it's called a protocol. Are you getting it? You realize that when you want to open a website, you have HTTPS. That's what, a protocol. Are you getting it? I don't know how to explain the protocol to you, but we HTTPS is actually a secure protocol. It's what, hypertext transfer protocol, and it's like a medium for sending data or files. Are you getting it? And so to open a link on the web, we use the HTTPS or HTTP. To open the phone's dialer, we use the tel. And then for the mail to, the mail to send a mail, we use the mail to. Is your question answered? All right, that's great.
Yes, please.
That's great. Anybody else having any other question, any confusion that needs to be cleared? We have less than 20 minutes to go, and I wouldn't continue any further. We want to pause over here. The We will start links later. But if you are very observant, you'll notice that after we, yeah, Janet.
So my question it's not about this. It's about the HTTPS,
Yeah.
and but it's not about what you just taught
Okay, you just
right
ask it.
now. Okay, please, what's the difference between the HTTPS, the IPS, and DNS?
Okay,
How does
so
it work
DNS is a
together?
domain server. You said, did you say IPS?
Yes.
IPS meaning
Is it
Internet
IPS
Protocol
or
Service.
IP?
IP address.
Okay.
All right, so IP address is basically a unique identifier of a device on a network. Are you getting it? Then the
So
DNS is the
yes.
domain name server. I don't know if you were present on day one.
So, but how do the three work together, like to make up a website? How do they work?
How the three works
How do they
together.
communicate?
Okay,
Yes,
so
like
I'll answer this question. This is more of a networking issue, and I'll answer that question another time, later tomorrow.
okay.
Yeah, I'll make an extensive research so that I give you concrete information. Are you getting it? So I'll make some research on that so that when I'm explaining it to you, I give you concrete information. But I think I did explain what the domain name server does on the. Were you present on day one?
Yes,
Great.
yes, I understood what you said by that,
Well,
but
okay.
I was just confused how three of them works together. Which one communicates to which one, and what does this like?
Okay, so
I
I'll
don't
make
know.
an
So
extensive research on that and get back to you. Kindly remind me either tomorrow or Monday. But you can also prompt me within the weekend because we don't have sessions on Saturday and Sunday. But engagement is always going to happen on the platform. So anytime any of you has any question, you can just uh, prompt me. Right? The learning is it's happening non-stop. We only have to meet once in the evening so we can learn together. While we're on the page, we can be doing passive learning. So that's it. Anybody having any other question? Eben?
No question.
All right. Okay. So basically, that's what we're going to be covering today. I'll send an assignment into the group. I'm going to send an assignment into the group. I have about 18 people online, and I'm not hearing. I'm not hearing from most of you guys. What are the rest of you doing? Hebra, are you following? Hebra, she left. Okay, Michael is following. Theo Henry, are you following?
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay. Rosemary,
Yes,
are you
I'm
following?
following.
Are you coding along or
Yes.
you just listening?
Yeah, I'm coding along.
And you haven't faced any challenges so far?
No, sir.
Okay. Michael, upon, are you were you also following along or you were just listening? So okay. Eben, you have all right. All right, that's great. That's great. It's good to be practicing along. And people are running out. All right, so Lanky is asking if it is good to use plugins instead of coding things yourself. Well, uh, it's good to work with speed. It's good to work smart. They say smart work is better than hard work, right? So if you can get plugins to help you out, great, you use them. Most people rely on WordPress, which is a very good and reliable and fast way of building websites, which is fine. However, you shouldn't let that limit you because there are some projects that are going to be heavy skilled. Can you guys still see my screen? All right. So there are some projects that are heavy which you can't use WordPress. For example, let's say you want to build a school admissions, a school management system or a hospital management system. There are WordPress themes and plugins for that. But here lies the case: the client is looking for specific features, and you can't get them all in one resource. So you end up having to use different plugins, and even that, you can't fully customize it, right? But if you can code, then you are going to be able to handle those projects on your own. And so that's a very great thing to do. The same way applies to frameworks and stuff. When you want to learn a framework, you have to make sure you learn the vanilla first. And so we are going to be learning CSS. After CSS, I was initially thinking we would learn Bootstrap, which is a CSS library, but maybe we wouldn't look at that. At another time, I may make another YouTube video for Bootstrap when you guys subscribe to the channel, you're going to be getting notifications for all of those. And so that's going to be it. The frameworks help to make work easier and faster. Janice is asking what a plugin is. So a plugin is basically like an add-on. Are you getting it? If you've ever used WordPress or so a plugin. Janet, are you using Live Great. So Live is a plugin, or we can call them add-ons. We can call them extensions. We can call them plugins. It's the same thing. And what they do is basically they extend the functionality of a particular tool. So we have VS Code, which is we did say it's a very good tool for coding, right? But it can let you run your website like that. So what do? We bring an add-on, we bring a plugin to help us do that. And so that's what plugins are. And I think was it Eben or whoever asked that question. Probably they have some background in coding already, and he was asking if it's okay to use plugins or to code yourself. It's okay to use plugin for small projects. When you want to code bigger projects, even when you are coding on bigger projects, you still rely on frameworks and libraries. It's something you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. You can always rely on open source stuff. And when we get to do PHP, we're going to be using a lot of dependencies and libraries for some add-on services which we're going to be doing. You guys should stick around till the very very end, and our lesson is going to get a lot more fun from next week going. So I believe I've answered your question, Janet. So okay, a framework and a library. So it's more about a functionality. A framework is I did mention earlier that PHP WordPress is a framework for PHP, right? It's like they've built something, but it was built based on a particular language, right? However, a library is basically like resources that are there. You just go and make references to them. Most people use them interchangeably, but I see it as different. I get it. So basically, they let me see if I can get some explanation from the internet. Let me see framework versus library. So both framework and libraries precoded support programs to develop complex software applications. So what? Both the framework and libraries pre-coded to support programs to develop complex software applications. However, libraries get a specific functionality, while a framework tries to provide everything required to develop a complete application. I don't know if this is if you understand it. This one's, I think this explains it better. A framework is a set of pre-written code that provides a structure for developing software applications. Then a library, on the other hand, is a collection of pre-written code that can be. I think I'm confused over here. A framework is a set of pre-written code that provides what a structure. So the framework provides the structure, and then the library is what the code is there. You can just go and pick it and use it, and you are good to go. Janet, do you understand it? Are you a little bit clear, or you're still confused? You're okay. Don't worry, you'll get better. You understand it better as as you go along. As you go along your tech journey, you will understand everything much better. Okay, so we are done with. We have 8 minutes more, and I think we've done enough. So I would like to say thank you guys for coming around. The 17 of you that are still around to this very moment, I appreciate. One advantage of joining the live class is that you get to ask questions. You get to ask questions about things which are not clear to you. Those who are going to be relying on the recorded version, you may not be able to answer to ask questions. So I'll then treat you guys to join. One disadvantage that happened was the very first day where I did a recording, but unfortunately there was no audio, and so if I wasn't having a video of that from I think 2 years ago, they would have lost on something great. So you guys should try and hang around. And if you guys are around throughout the meeting, trust me, it gives me motivation to continue, right? But some people come and they run away, it kills my spirit. So you guys should come around, stick so that I get motivated to take. Thank you very much. Yeah, Deborah, Hebra, you raised your hand. You can speak, please.
Okay, you were talking about testing your website on your phone using the IP address of the port.
Yeah.
Do we, where do we put that port or those
Come
IP
again.
addresses
You
on the
said, where do we?
where, where do we put those IP addresses on? Is it on the phone or on the laptop?
All right, so because you are running the server on the laptop, you are going to put the laptop's IP address in your phone browser, just like you type google.com. So in your phone's browser, you type the IP address, then you add the port number, right? Then when you add the port number, you just press enter, and then it will go. That is for the live server we are using. Basically, that's how it is. If you are going to use a different, maybe when you're on PHP, you may need to specify the file directory or the project directory. But for now, the IP address of the laptop on inside the phone's browser with the port number. Currently, I think uh, it's running on port 5500. So that's what you're going to put over there. If you have multiple instances of the live server running, it's going to look for another available port and then default to that. Then also you have to make sure that the live server, sorry, yeah, the laptop and then the mobile phone are on the same network. So it's either you are sharing the phone's hotspot with the laptop or you have a Wi-Fi and all of them are connected to that particular network for it to work.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. So thank you very much. Have a nice evening, and I'll be posting the what do you call it? I'll post your assignment in the group. All right, I'll post your assignment in the group, so you guys should try and work on it and submit it tomorrow before we have tomorrow's session. Have a good evening, you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.